It's launch day and they're finally here. After almost 3 years, we finally got an AirPods Pro refresh and I've got them now to unbox and show you guys. I will be doing a full-on review of these once I've had enough time to really test them out, so stay tuned for that. But for now, let's get into the box and see what's inside. A noticeable difference already on the outside of the box is the lack of plastic wrap. Used to have this really satisfying pull tab to release the plastic around the box, but for environmental reasons, we've now got these paper pull tabs which match the iPhone boxes. On the front of the box, we've got a really nicely printed and embossed picture of the AirPods, and on the sides we've got Apple logos and AirPods Pro text. On the back, we've got some information about charging and the AirPods case, and obviously our pull tabs to open up the box. So inside, we've got our whole paperwork packet with stuff like instructions, warranty information, and no Apple stickers. Then we've got our actual AirPods in their case, wrapped in plastic. And you can probably see from here that I have gotten them engraved. So this time they let you put an emoji for the engraving on top of text or regular emojis, so I went with one that was pretty similar to my YouTube profile picture. And under the AirPods, we've got some spare ear tips in different sizes to match your own ear shape. The medium ones do come pre-installed, but you can always choose your own for the best fit with a new extra small size this year for the 2nd Gen Pros. It also comes with a Lightning to USB-C cable, but no power brick, so you'll have to supply your own or just use a cable and brick you already use to charge your iPhone. The design of the 2nd Gen Pros are pretty similar to the 1st Gen, with the main differences being in the case and in some minor tweaks to vent and sensor shape and their actual placement on the AirPods themselves. There are still no options for any colors this year, as much as we would have liked for that to be possible, and they're still rated IPX4, which means you can wear them out in the rain and they'll survive if they're splashed with water or if they come in contact with sweat. There are some pretty big upgrades with the 2nd Gen AirPods Pro compared to the Gen 1s from 2019. Inside the AirPods themselves, there's a new H2 chip which allows for noise cancellation that is twice as effective, better sound, which is also thanks to a new custom driver and amplifier, and a new feature called Adaptive Transparency Mode. Adaptive Transparency allows the 2nd Gen AirPods Pro, which can now process sounds at 48,000 times per second, to reduce really loud noises when you're in transparency mode. So while you can hear everything around you clearly, loud sounds like jackhammers or sirens will be reduced. A new feature on the stem of the AirPods is touch controls, which allows you to use one finger to swipe up and down to be able to adjust volume. This is definitely going to be really helpful, so you don't have to ask Siri to change the volume or blindly reach into your pocket to find the volume rocker on your phone. Now, apart from the AirPods themselves, the case gets some big improvements too. It's got a speaker in it now, so it can play audible alerts for charging and when you're trying to locate it. A new addition that helps with finding your AirPods is a U1 chip, which is now in AirPods Pro 2. The U1 chip uses ultra-wideband technology to show you when you're relatively close to your AirPods case exactly where it is in relation to you. So when you've started precision finding in the Find My app, you get an arrow pointing in the direction that your AirPods are in, as well as the distance between you and your AirPods. This feature is really helpful on top of the Play Sound feature, so you can be led straight to your missing headphones. I should note though that your iPhone needs to have ultra-wideband support with the U1 chip for the precision finding feature to work. That means you need an iPhone 11 or later. Otherwise, you can still play sounds and use Bluetooth signal strength to help find your AirPods too. The case still charges via Lightning, but also has support for wireless charging, MagSafe, and you can now even use your Apple Watch charger. There's also this slot at the side for attaching a lanyard so your AirPods are always within reach. One last improvement this year is the battery. You get 6 hours of total listening time, an improvement of 1 hour, and the case now lasts for 30 hours, 6 hours up from last gen. For my first wear, these definitely sound a whole lot better than the 2nd Gen AirPods. I'm definitely no audiophile, but I can tell that there is a huge improvement in sound quality between the AirPods Pro and the regular AirPods. You hear more detail and clarity at lower volumes, and I can hear way more punchier bass in the stuff that I listen to. And with spatial audio with head tracking, which is exclusive to AirPods 3, AirPods Pro, and AirPods Max, you can really feel sound coming from different directions if you're listening to a song with Dolby Atmos support. When you turn your head or move your device around you, the direction changes to stay anchored to the position of the device. It's a pretty cool experience, though a lot of songs still don't have Dolby Atmos support yet, so that is still worth noting. The AirPods have these rubber tips that are for providing a better fit and seal, but they might take some time to get used to, especially when you're coming from AirPods that don't have these tips. There is this feature in the settings app called the ear tip fit test, which plays some music and uses the inward-facing microphones in the AirPods to understand whether the seal you have is good or poor. Even with a tight seal, there are actually air vents in the AirPods, so you don't feel any pressure in your ears when you actually have the AirPods on. You can still definitely feel them in your ears, but there's no vacuum seal feeling. So the second gen Pros maintain mostly the same design as the previous generation, with a stem that is smaller than the Gen 1 and 2 AirPods, and a similar design to the third gen AirPods. Because the stem is smaller, the regular tap controls on the AirPods 1 and 2 are actually replaced with squeeze controls on the AirPods 3 and AirPods Pro. To play or pause, or to answer a phone call, you squeeze once. To skip forward, you squeeze twice. To skip back, you squeeze 3 times. And like I said, you can now swipe up and down on one side of the sensors to control volume. What I didn't expect was that they actually changed the volume incrementally. So what that means is that instead of continuously trying to change the sound up or down during your swiping motion, one swipe changes the volume once, and to keep changing the volume, you need to keep swiping. The AirPods Pro 2 have a skin detect sensor that can tell the difference between when the sensor is touching a regular surface versus your skin. This sensor isn't actually in the first gen Pros, which have an optical sensor. With the sensor, the AirPods have automatic play or pause, where if you take the AirPods out of your ear, your music pauses automatically and plays automatically once you've placed them back into your ear. The main difference between the regular AirPods and the Pro AirPods are the design, sound quality, spatial audio with head tracking, and probably the main differentiation, active noise cancellation and transparency mode. I've never used headphones with active noise cancellation before, but from what I've seen, Apple is the company who's been really nailing noise cancellation in headphones. I've only tried noise cancellation on AirPods Max, so this is the first time I've used it on in-ear headphones. When you turn on active noise cancellation, you hear a chime, and then the noise cancellation begins to kick in. For me, it feels less pressuring on the ears than on AirPods Max, which is something that can happen with active noise cancellation. This feeling will probably take some time to get used to and might pass the more you use active noise cancellation, so we'll see if I still notice this feeling later on in the full review. But in terms of the actual noise cancellation, it's really good. In most situations or when music is playing, I can't really hear anything going on around me at all, and it works especially well in public areas or just in spaces where there's a lot of consistent noise to filter away. Active noise cancellation is great for hearing even more detail and clarity in your music, or if you're trying to focus and block outside noise. Now there's a second mode that these AirPods have, which is adaptive transparency mode. Transparency mode is done really well to the point where you could probably forget that you're wearing AirPods. In some situations, I think ambient noise can sound a little bit tinny in this mode, but for the most part, voices and most noises sound pretty real. It uses the microphones on the outside of your AirPods to be able to let noise pass through the headphones. You can hear everything around you really well, and it all sounds pretty clear and natural. It's like being able to hear normally without needing to take your AirPods out of your ears. Personally, I'll probably be using active noise cancellation more than I use transparency mode, but it's nice that you do have transparency mode available anyway if you want to use it instead of taking your headphones out. When you turn these modes off, you can still kind of hear what's going on around you, but it's pretty hard, and when you talk, your voice sounds like if you were to cover your ears with your hands and speak. Overall, this is a really nice leap for AirPods Pro with new Apple Watch charger support, better active noise cancellation and sound quality, precision finding, and more. That's everything new with the AirPods Pro 2. I'm excited to keep testing them so I can compile all of my thoughts into a full review for you all soon. Thanks for watching. This is Justin, and I'll see you in the next one.